Hey, today I'll be discussing how I made these graphics for a garden project I'm working on. The software that I'm using is called Inkscape. It's basically a open source alternative to Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator. I find that it works well for me and it's free. So first I started with with my fonts. This project is Pokemon themed or Pal World themed if Nintendo was listening. So I have my text ready, gotta plant them all. Next I'm going to get started on the Pokeball itself. So I find it easy to just go online and find an image. I chose this one because I like that the picture is taken sort of straight on and it's not really skewed in any direction, so that'll just make it a little bit easier to convert it to digital. So now I'm gonna start with selecting a basic shape. I'll start with a circle. I like to make the opacity lower so that I can see the image behind it. And then I'll also add a outline to sort of help me align where the edges of the object are as I start editing. Next, I convert that object to a path, and that allows me to edit these nodes here. And I just double click to get the nodes. And then I make sure that I have the little plus node there so that when I double click on any of these edges, a new one is created. And then I basically just get to work making this the shape that I want it. As you can see, there are little rotation handles. And so I go ahead and use those to get the right angle. And then I move the node itself to get the right shape. And as you can see, you can get a lot done with a couple circles. So now I find it's a good idea to go ahead and label all your layers. I've done a lot of projects where I have, 50 different things on the page, and then I'm guessing to find out which object is the one I actually want to edit. For the Pokeball button, we actually can just create a solid stroke to get that outer ring, and then fill the inside a different color. Next, I'll use the pen tool to draw in this little, I just call it like a belt, the Poke belt. And then again, we fix the stroke and the fill to get the right shape of the object that we want. I used a little eyedropper tool to select the right red. And now I am going to just sort of fine tune what I have here. Now that everything is the correct color, I just want to make sure that there aren't any holes in the image. And now I'll take it off the background, again, just to double check that there aren't any white spaces. Obviously I have a white on white image there, so I'll just make a little square to give it a background, change the layer, and now we can see our Pokeball. So this graphic is going to be printed on vinyl, so I'm going to go ahead and get it ready to be exported so it can be cut by my Cricut Maker. So I'll select my button and my little belts, and just to make sure I have the layer that I'm looking for, I will just sort of hide and unhide that layer. So now I'll go ahead and choose the left and right rings and the center button, and then I'll go ahead and do a union on those paths to make one solid object. And now I'll just raise the layer of that object so we can see it in full, and here we are with our little belt. And then we'll do the same thing for the bottom ball and the circle that's underneath that. You gotta play around with the layers a little bit to get it to look the way that we want it to. And now here we are with our Pokeball. So now I'll go ahead and select all of those layers. And then I will go ahead and export. In this view, I have the little export tab in my workspace, but you can also just go to the file bar and go ahead and select export there as well. I'll make sure it's a plain SVG. There's another kind of SVG, which is Inkscape, which has a little bit more detail to it. But plain is fine for what I'm doing today. So I'll go ahead and export it, and then it's ready to be imported into Cricut Maker. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Check back soon for more.